Thanks for joining us today. We're really pleased to be here and to be a part of this. I want to thank the IAB. I'm Steve Mandala, the Chief Revenue and Local Media Officer at Estrella Media, and I want to take a minute to introduce our panelists. Jackie Hernández, the founder and CEO of New Majority Ready. Renee Santaella, Estrella's Chief Digital and Streaming Officer, and Emilio Aliaga, the Chief Digital Officer at TV Azteca in Mexico. So, guys, thank you for being here. In about the next 20 minutes, we hope to help you understand the importance and behaviors of the Hispanic digital user. And in that period of time, we want to help you understand that there's two commonalities, and really one that is the most important in our approach to digital and that of all of our partners. This commonality is unbreakable and it differentiates us. And we want to make it as easy as possible for users, viewers, listeners to consume lots of our content. And the best way to accomplish that is to make our content available everywhere and for free. No subscriptions, no paywalls, no fees, free, always free. And our viewers have responded to this, and they've rewarded us, as demonstrated by the explosive audience growth that we've had over the course of the last year. And one of the ways that we think that we may serve the needs of both our agencies and advertising partners is through our recently made announcement about the formation of EMAS, Estrella Media Audience Solutions. EMAS creates one sales and marketing team encompassing a number of independently owned media companies. EMAS makes it easier for you to activate the Hispanic audience across all of Estrella's platforms, Hemisphere's 5 cable networks, BN's 2 cable networks, and all of TV Azteca's digital properties. This virtual audience network increases reach for the purposes of your buys to almost 27 million unique Hispanic unduplicated consumers, and thus, again, serving your purpose by delivering that value. Today, though, is all about growth, your growth, and how our team can help you activate the Hispanic digital video consumer. So let me turn it over to our first panelist. Jackie Hernández is a longtime expert in this market, having served with distinction in a number of different roles till she founded her own company recently, New Majority Ready. And Jackie's going to talk to everyone for a few minutes about the dynamics of the Hispanic video user and what's going on and what the future looks like for that market. So Jackie?
Thanks, Steve. It's great to be here with all of you this morning, speaking about one of my favorite topics, the Hispanic consumer, and that consumer that is really driving exponential growth. So my firm is one that really specializes in multicultural and youth, what we call the new majority. And that is exactly the demographic that is driving the massive shift and growth in streaming. And it's no surprise when you look at the median age of 29 with Hispanics and early adopters on every platform. According to Harvard's research, which we're popping up there, they do an annual study. It's really a brilliant study. It's called Focus Latinx, and it looks at the state of viewing and streaming with the Latino community. And 85% of Hispanics say that they view TV content through streaming every single week. So 15% are just doing the linear. You have some that are doing traditional and streaming as their viewing platforms, and then 40% are just streaming. And that number is expected to grow. Now, we shouldn't be that surprised given that Hispanics, the households, 7 out of 10 of them have smart TVs. So it's really impressive. I think that as we continue to look at the demographics and see that the 40% that are just streaming alone, we're going to continue to see more growth there. If we can pop to the next slide, here you see the streaming service, the most popular streaming services, YouTube, Tubi, Samsung TV Plus. And what you're seeing with that purple bar is that Hispanics are over-indexing the total population. And it's no wonder that if you look at the recently cited VIP Plus, they say that out of 1,400 smart channels, 252 are in Spanish. And just to kind of put that in perspective, there are 21 fast channels that are dedicated to African American audiences. So I truly believe that we're going to continue to see more and more appetite for Spanish, especially as younger Hispanics are really leaning into wanting to see in-culture content.
Jackie, I have to interrupt here for a second.
Sure.
And I hate to do a crystal ball type thing, but we're going to crystal ball it. Where do you see this going a year from now?
I can do better than a crystal ball because, as I mentioned, the study is one that Harvard puts out every year. And very, very soon, I think either later this month or sometime next month, they're going to come out with the next study. And I asked them if I could get a little bit of a preview. And the two things I can tell you is that on this chart, when the 2023 study comes out, Freevee will be there. And it will actually be quite high up. It'll be number 5. Yeah. And then also Samsung TV Plus is going to see a nice pop in Hispanic. And it sounds like that's what you've been seeing through your partnerships.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm. And then if we go to the next slide, we can take a look at, so what are they consuming? What is the content? And, it's really across the board. It's a lot of different content, from the top ones being, movies, entertainment, and news. And it's no surprise probably to this panel because those are the 3 content genres that Estrella has your fast channels in. And if you look at news, it's local news, national news, it's cable news. So it speaks to the wild success you've been having with your 24/7 news channel. I think that what's really important, though, to point out is that in the streaming world, consumer choice is number 1. They decide what they want, they decide when they want it, and as a result, I think as marketers, even though it's really important to know what content is relevant and what content is resonating, now I think it's even more important to see what content is driving fandom. And I'll give you an example. Right now, today, if you look on streaming audio platform Spotify, the top 3 songs for global are Mexican regional, number 1, number 2, and number 3. And there's a huge appetite for that, which you're probably also seeing with your music reality competition show, which focuses on the Mexican-American audience. I think really leaning into that consumer and understanding what the passion points are key. So just to kind of summarize, 85% are streaming. They over-index on some of the leading popular streaming platforms, and I think they're really driving a seismic shift in pop culture and the zeitgeist of pop culture. With new music genres that you're probably going to hear about more and more beyond the stages of Coachella.
That's great. Thanks, Jackie.
Sure.
So let's turn our attention to fast channels. Renee Santella is our Chief Digital and Streaming Officer at Estrella Media. He and his team have done a spectacular job over the course of about the last 2.5 years of building our digital business. Before we go to Renee, let's take a quick look at a video.
En la isla. ¡Ven a jugar! ¡Ya estoy listo! Iniciamos con información de último minuto. ¡Al extremo!
How about a little applause, just like the Cracker team?
Yay!
Thanks, Steve. So just like that video is booming, the fast industry is booming too. And what's funny about this is just a few years ago, it was an experiment. But today, it requires everyone's attention. Whether you're a publisher, an advertiser, or a distributor, you need to have a position in fast. And the reason being is it's forecast to do $6 billion in ad revenue by 2025. And there's now over 1,400 distinct channels in FAST, depending on who's counting. And you heard Jackie say 250 plus Spanish language. But it's still new. It's early, and now's the time to get in if you're not in it already. It's not too late. So one of the reasons why it's so popular is because viewers access FAST just like TV. It's a TV-like experience. There's a channel guide with a user experience where you can flip through different channels and stream live just like TV. There's 3 areas that are dominating the FAST industry where consumers are accessing FAST channels. There's the major AVOD players. There's smart TVs, where they've integrated it cleverly into their user experience in the platform. And then there's virtual MVPDs. And so the FAST industry and free streaming, it's kind of all blurring together. What's important to know is that the same behaviors that have happened with linear TV are happening in the streaming world. In linear TV, consumers had a preference of top 5 channels, typically, depending on the research that you've looked at. And we're finding the same things happening in the streaming world, that consumers have their top preferences. And so one of their preferences is free streaming. And it's now the #1 way for people under 45 to watch TV. And FAST is a major reason why this is happening. It's now part of a consumer's personal bundle. It's part of their streaming world. And they will have their top subscription services, they'll have their top AVOD, and they'll have their top FAST channels. And it's part of their bundle. And so at Estrella Media, we're heavily focused on FAST. We take our best content and we put it up on FAST, and we make sure it's available everywhere, as Steve mentioned before. And it's really effective to do this because we now reach over 10 million monthly uniques on FAST alone and deliver 280 million minutes per month. And this is just the US marketplace. Keep in mind, our FAST business didn't exist 2 years ago. It does now. So we also know that our adults are 25 to 44, and they're more likely to be parents. And for parents, money matters when you have a budget. And they're hardworking, and there's a limit to your personal bundle with subscriptions. And so free is a win for these consumers. It's also a win for advertisers, right? So we know that consumers don't like walled garden mazes. Neither do we. And so we are committed to delivering the content whenever and wherever a consumer wants to choose to stream, wherever they want to choose to stream. And what this does is it creates value for our advertisers. We do the heavy lifting, we acquire the massive scale, and we make it really easy for our advertisers to reach an underserved US Hispanic marketplace across numerous touch points and platforms. And we're also obsessed with engagement. We look at our channels 24/7, we look at them daily, and we look at the data. And what we've seen is that you need to treat FAST like a TV experience, but there's some nuances. So similar to TV, we want to create a really engaging prime time during weekdays. And we see appointment viewing happening on weekdays. People will come in on the weekday because we're giving them our best content during prime time. We're putting it up there, and they engage. They know when new seasons are coming out. We also see on-demand type binge behavior on FAST, especially like weekends. And so what we've started doing is we create marathons with our shows on a Sunday afternoon, for example, and we give them what they want to see for hours at a time, and they engaged. And then also FAST is interesting because sometimes it's just an escape or a break for 20 minutes for a user. And so we've seen all these different types of behaviors. It's all from the data that we're getting every day. And we're constantly digging in. We're testing and learning. We're working with our partners to do promotions and all sorts of things. And the outcome of all of this is that an advertiser who works with us is guaranteed premium studio content with reach and engagement across every possible touch point in the world of Spanish language digital video connected television.
Thanks, Renee. Thank you. So let's turn next to our friend Emilio Aliaga, the Chief Digital Officer at TV Azteca in Mexico. We thank him for joining us here from his offices in Mexico City. And Emilio has had a distinguished career both here and in Mexico, focusing on Spanish language content and how to serve the Hispanic consumer. Emilio is going to talk to us a little bit about the value of premium content to the Hispanic video user.
Thank you very much, Steve. Thank you very much, everyone, for being here. And I agree with Jackie and what Renee was just saying. But talking about premium content, in an era where attention is the main currency, premium content stands out as the option to attract loyal and engaged audiences who can easily interact with brands related to their favorite shows. According to a study by Kantar and Pubmatic, exposure to ads in premium platforms improved unaided brand awareness, delivering a 37% uplift exposure against non-premium video. That is huge. And that's what everybody wants, for our brands to be well recognized and well remembered. The viewers of premium content are more receptive to ads. Ads become part of the content, and they are less intrusive. And there's another big point that we should take under consideration. You need to go big or go home when we talk about premium content. According to Freewheel, just 10% of overall ad views come from mobile devices, while 70% occur in the big screen. That is a change of paradigm. That didn't happen a few years ago. This means that for all the time that consumers spend on their computers and scrolling through their phones during the day, more than 3/4 of the ad views happen on the biggest screen in their house. That is a huge, huge change. And then, last but not least, content needs to be good. You know, it's just not any content. Good content is crucial for digital marketing as it attracts and engages consumers, leading to an increase in sales. According to Netflix data analysts, users tend to spend between 60 to 90 seconds browsing and looking for content before they move on. And if they move on from your screen or from your platform or from your channel, you're done. It's difficult to catch them on that end. And there is another key part for me in premium content, and it's video content aggregators. Something like what Apple TV and Google TV are doing. It's very important to have a one-stop shop so that you can have everyone going and finding, regardless of platform, where is their content, what is the last thing they watched, what is the next episode that they're looking at. And I think that fast channels are a big part of our future now. They're part of our present, but at the same time, there's so many of them. So it's going to get worse before it gets better. It's going to be difficult for some of them to find them. It's going to be difficult to try and follow up on the series that you're watching, trying to find it. And in every platform where you go, some of these channels are completely different. So that's a big challenge that we have in the industry, and that's going to get better. And I think that having a premium content, that's what it's going to bring your users back to you. No?
Very good. Thanks, Emilio. So as a media salesperson, I speak in 30-second increments, and I'll take 30 seconds to tie this up right now. Kantar's research conclusively shows that the fastest path to growth for any brand is to speak to more consumers. It's not about speaking to the same consumer repeatedly. It's about speaking to more consumers. And tapping into the power of the Hispanic consumer is a powerful force for brands today. And I think that Estrella Media can help you. We stand ready to help you at any time with insights to help you make informed and good decisions, like what Jackie exhibited, with the right kinds of platforms that consumers are actively engaged with, as Renee discussed. And lastly, with premium content that is meant to both attract and retain viewers, as Emilio has talked about. So we thank you for joining us today. We look forward to serving your needs and talking to you in the coming weeks. Thank you.